Pee pee, poo poo, caca. What's poppin'? My name is Jace Robinson, and I'm going to be your river guide on this lovely tour of failure.
Aww, I'm a failure.
If you're wondering why I have a little party hat on, it is none of your goddamn business. 1 month ago, give or take, I made a video talking about how important it is to finish your projects. And now here I am, trying to sing the praises of my unfinished projects. It's kind of a weird paradox I found myself in because I can find value in both of what I am preaching. Not one of them has to be right, or neither one of them should be put above the other on level of importance. They both are fulfilling two different purposes that don't directly work with one another. However, they can still be applied to each individual. In that video from 1 month ago, I stated that I was going to take some time to sit down and talk about my creative graveyard.
Creative Graveyard, my unfinished project.
However, after recording that video, putting it together, editing it, my computer decided to insert explosion. I lost everything. Old art files, old videos, edits. I had a bunch of photos that were saved on there, digital paintings, I'm pretty sure I already said that, school essays, short stories, some poetry, because you know, your boy's poet always hitting those hardcore limericks.
You are such a disappointment.
And it sucked and it was really hard on me, but I was making that video in order to clear up some space on my laptop. I wanted to show off all my projects one last time before I deleted them. My computer just beat me to the punchline. Even though I wasn't able to finish that project before sending everything off, I'm grateful that my laptop decided to delete everything. I almost feel like it took a weight off of me. Losing those files really sent me into a path of progression, to leave some of those projects behind that were tying me down. I was able to clear up my entire laptop and install programs I actually wanted to keep. I felt like I had a clean, creative slate where I could do whatever I want. And now, a month later, I've been so goddamn productive. All of a sudden, my laptop's not clouded up anymore and my mental faculties are goddamn rock solid. It's my old video idea of talking about my creative graveyard mixed with lessons I've learned from failure. Kaboom! YouTube algorithms going crazy. I put top 3 in the video. Is that still a thing, or am I stuck in 2010? Who knows? Number 3, biggest failures that Jace Robinson has ever experienced in the realm of creativity. Dungeons and Dumbasses. It's not the actual title. It was actually called War on the Spalus Front, and it was a D&D book that I created. It included 25 original nations, each with their own dense lore, history, side quests, monsters, NPCs, spells, classes, subclasses. I was going ham with this book. I loved it. I drew all of the flags. I made the whole ass map. Look at all of these assets that I created for my book. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. I spent a lot of time on this one, and I even got into the playtesting phase where I was able to whip out this bad boy and have my players experience a whole new way of playing Dungeons and Dragons. Lo and behold, I was treating Dungeons and Dragons like Lord of the Rings and not Monty Python. For those of you who have played Dungeons and Dragons, it plays a lot like Monty Python, where everything is just crazy. And I took it personally when the group of people I was playing with didn't take it as seriously as I was hoping. The playtests only ran for about a month. At the time, I didn't know how to take criticism. I was viewing everything as an attack on my creative spirit, and that's not what it was meant to be at all. It wasn't that I was doing anything innately incorrect, and it wasn't that they were doing anything innately incorrect, but being able to sit down, find that their criticism was justified and how I could fix it, made it so that in my future creative endeavors, if somebody comes back to me with a comment, that comment's not going to be taken as an insult to my person. Instead, I can take that as oh, this is a good idea. So lesson 1 boils down to, I learned how to take criticism. Pick through it, find what criticism is good, find what criticism is bad, but overall knowing that criticism always comes from a place of wanting to improve. You, as the creative, can still choose what advice you want to take and what advice you want to leave, but when all of your criticism that you are receiving is wrong, negative, bad, harmful, stupid, then maybe it's not the criticism itself that is needing to change. That was a big one. If you are afraid of critique, start showing off stuff you know is half-baked. It's not complete. Start getting some of that critique from an earlier stage so you're not as tied to that project at its final state. Art is ever evolving, it's always changing. So if you show people it through every single step of the process, you can get critiques on those steps. The first chapter that I ever wrote of my book, when I went back and I looked at it, holy macaroni, it was bad. When I showed it to my older brother, I thought I was the best writer of all time. I thought I was a deity amongst men. And he's like, oh, it's a good first draft. I was flabbergasted. I thought that my first iteration was perfect. And it wasn't until I started writing a little bit more, getting a little bit more comfortable with it, that I went back, reread it, and realized, oh shit, he's actually right. My writing does need to improve greatly. And after applying some of his critiques, it read a lot better. And now, months later, looking back at my new revised chapter, it's ready for another revision. It is ready to evolve and change. So by applying some of those critiques, I'm able to improve. When it gets re-critiqued, I can improve some more. If I stay blind and ignorant to what other people can see in my art, then it may never improve. And of course, not everybody's goal is improvement. There are people out there that just want to make art. So just let them make art. There's people out there whose favorite thing to do is make Harry Potter fanfiction mixed with Spyro the Dragon from the Spyro trilogy. People can make what they want to make. If you are wanting to improve or make something that holds up to your highest of high standards, you can't do that unless you have criticism. To recap, first big failure, book, lesson I learned. Criticism is not bad, is good. Gather around, children, gather around. We're coming up to the second biggest failure of this buffoon's life. The second big project that I never finished was Avios. A lovely, convoluted story that I started writing in middle school, carried on throughout the end of high school, that I now look back upon with clarity. I was a bad writer. I didn't know the first thing about point of view, chapter construction, dialogue tags. I didn't know anything about writing good, compelling characters. Instead, it was just an edgy 14-year-old self-insert of a cool-ass kid who is very neat and very cool. This project, being as old as it is, actually has a backup on my Google Drive, and I was able to uncover it, and I would like to read some of it out for you today to show you how truly awful I was as a teenage writer. This is the second paragraph in the novel. When I was born, I was told that my dad Jasper was sick with an unknown illness and was expected to die around my 3rd birthday. I was told that he worked as a scientist trying to find a way to cure the A6 virus and save the infected host. People have tried to cure it for years. I don't know why he thought he could do it. When he got critically ill with the flu, he was placed in isolation to try and prevent his flu from spreading. The flu was very bad to him. I never met him, and I knew nothing about him. But the few things that I were told were great stories of his discoveries. And I was told his curious mind saw joy in even the cruel system of Lobra. I was told that we were nothing alike, but how can I know the stories are true or false? I was told we were once part of the aristocracy, treated like kings and queens, but that all changed after I was born, and my dad was put into isolation because he was sick. To show you just how crazy this book was, here are a bunch of plot points that are contained within the first 300 pages. Aliens that infect people into zombie-like monsters, a terrorist group based off the cartel, a corrupt government organization called Lobra, which at the time was just a combination of lobster and cobra, two of my favorite animals. Killer birds, stupid fucking name, a blind handicapped child who can human beings sold as meat to the upper class, an economy propped up solely on prison labor, a person throwing inspired a mother who has an affair with her husband's best friend Xavier, who later kills the father and swears revenge on the child, claiming motorcycles. Convoluted out the wazoo. It has more pages than the first 2 Harry Potter books combined, and it's horrific. So was it all a waste of time? Absolutely not. When you start giving yourself this idea that this project you're working on is yours, it is your big creation that will just send you into the stratosphere, you don't leave a lot of room for future growth. You are encapsulating yourself entirely into one central project. There's nothing innately wrong with that. I have a story that I have been working on for the better part of a year, and it just infests my mind at all times. It's the only thing that I think about on a daily basis. Like it just sits there and constantly grows and becomes great. And I love working on that project. My second project failure boils down to this. This massive amount of time that I spent on this, it's not a failure. It's not that bad. I don't regret a single time I sat down to work on this project. This was a hefty goal for me to go through. And I wanted to just take that goal, and I just wanted it. I wanted it. It was right there for me, and I wanted it. It was right there. And because it didn't come to fruition, I beat myself up over it. And I shouldn't have done that. When I started my next project, I was refilled with that same vigor, that same fire that pushed me to want to finish this, and now I want to finish this new project. This new project is what I want to work on. And I can use those lessons from the past to apply to those. Boom, okay, I think I'm just beating a dead horse. Number 3. This next project, I don't even consider it really a failure, but it has done the most emotional damage to me. It has drained me creatively. It is a hard thing that I had to endure, and it still persists, and I love it and hate it and have a very complicated relationship with it. Lighthouse artwork, one of my biggest creative endeavors. I manufactured pins, sold prints, I got into an art gallery, put my stuff up, and then when I got burnt out from the creative phase, I felt like such a failure for wanting to take a step back from it. I put my identity into it. I really sat down, really strived to make sure everything was perfect with it, and it never met my standards. I didn't know the first thing about marketing. I didn't know about selling stuff online. So even though I was having some moderate success in the tangible sphere of selling in person at outdoor markets, the art gallery, that sort of stuff, I had no success online, which is where I wanted my success to be, because moolah, there's a lot of money online. And I realized now, especially looking back on it, oh my God, yeah, I would love to make some money off of this, but I'm enjoying none of the creative process. I'm not enjoying sitting down and making pins. Instead, now I'm worried, are these pins gonna sell? I wasn't really focused on making quality products. Instead, I just wanted stuff people wanted. I wanted to make stuff that would sell. And I lost a lot of my creative stuff. The stuff that I did produce, I wasn't proud of. When I put them up in the market, I felt disgusted. I felt like an imposter. And then when I wanted to take a step back from Lighthouse artwork, I felt like I wasn't good enough. I wasn't trying hard enough. This is a lot of people's dreams, and I wasn't pushing for it. I wasn't chasing it, man. And oh my God, it sucked willy wink ass. Rank ass. It sucked the rankest of asses. And then I realized the parasite that was eating away at me was the grind set. I was being tube fed this idea that if I worked hard, and I worked diligently, and I just did not stop, then I could achieve millions of dollars. Ooh, I could afford a jacuzzi. I could get a nice sectional couch for my living room. I could kick my feet up on a leather foot seal made of dolphin blubber. And that appeared to be more enticing to me than actually creating something I'm proud of. Bananas. Stinky wet bananas is what I have to say to that patooey. I decided to stop trying to sell stuff online because it never worked. I was putting more time and effort into trying to grow a brand than actually enjoy the art that I was creating. I learned from this lesson not to tie my entire identity, my entire self-worth in how well my products sold. Instead, I had to realign and romanticize the process of creation. All of a sudden, it goes from, man, I really hope my SEO is up to par, it's up to snuff, Instead, now it's turned into this process of pulling out a nice card table, kicking my feet up, putting on some nice lo-fi music in the background or Japanese 1980s city pop music, pulling out the pens and pencils and sitting down to create something lovely and beautiful. And I have romanticized this process in such a way that now I can look forward to the actual act of creation and not external validation. And that is a lovely thing that we should all strive to do. So my third lesson boils down to my identity is not my artwork. So what we learned today is critique is good. Really good. It's really nice. Insert Nacho Libre.
ナチョリブレさん has bad pipe を
Number 2, even if you spend hours and nothing comes to fruition, it's not a waste of time. You did your best and you got to look for those lessons more than anything else. You grew so much from actually sitting down and trying to pursue that goal, and you need to be proud of that. Lesson number 3, the grind set ain't it. Please do not fall into that trap. It is painful. You need to romanticize your process so that when you actually are doing something creative, you can enjoy it fully and not have to sit there with clouded goggles on because you're trying to pursue something that is on the other side of the spectrum. This video was a lot more impromptu than my past one. My last one, I had an actual script that I sat down. This one, I just kind of went balls to the walls with it because if I tried to sit down and write a script, I would have a goddamn panic attack. Instead, I just decided, hey guys, look at me, I'm here. I'm Jace. I'm Jace. It was a pleasure to meet you. Keep making your creative projects. Don't let yourself get bogged down by this creative journey and just have a good ass time. I feel like I need to end like a joke or something. Pee pee. Pee pee poo poo caca. Caca pee pee poo poo. Pee pee poo poo caca. Caca. Pee pee poo poo. And the caca. Because you know your boy's hitting those hardcore limericks.
Just as a closing remark, if I misspelt anything in this video, I fuck you. I'll suck your fucking toes.